Weekly, GarageBand, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly. Ooh. Need an answer to your question? John, you'll have a suggestion. He's a fountain of all knowledge. I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Hey, John. Hey, John. GarageBand Weekly.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly for another week here, episode 209, if you can believe it. My name is Pete Johns, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking about all things GarageBand, mobile recording, iPhone, iPad, gear, software, whatever you can name, we're going to talk about it. If it's your first time here, my goal around here is to help you create, record, and release your best music, and we do that through tips and tricks and tutorials and live streams just like this one. On the show today, I'm actually going to be diving into the iPhone. Yeah, did you know that GarageBand is available on iPhone? Maybe you've used it before. Maybe, like me, it was the first thing you used GarageBand with, and that's what we're doing today. I'm going to go back in time and show you the process I used to use to come up with song ideas in GarageBand on my iPhone. Fun times, yeah? It's going to be a good old time. We've also got some news and notes here, and because we are interactive, if you've got a question about anything to do with GarageBand, all you need to do is put a Q in front of your question, and we will be able to answer, or at least refer you on to someone or somewhere that may be able to answer your question there. We'll say g'day to the folks who are here live. Thank you for being here, Mr. Fomiati. Hello to Skeeter Melody, thank you for being here. Hey, that's me. Kihalu Roxa, aloha, my friend. Tremor Bear, he's here, as is Thomas Christ, thank you for being here. Daffia Pig 6843, hello. G'day, Mark Bro, thank you for being here as well. If you do, again, have any questions, just go ahead and ask. And if you want to find out all the information about using GarageBand, especially if you're a GarageBand iOS user, all you need to do is go over to studiolive.com/GarageBand. That is my GarageBand FAQ. You got all the links to all the videos, including my brand new series, 5-Minute Tips, which has been going down a treat. I think people like the idea that you can get the information you need and you can get out and you can get back to creating using GarageBand. So if you want to check that one out, go on over to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand. News and notes time. What's been going on in the world of Apple and the world of GarageBand related stuff? Well, there's really only one bit of Apple news, and not surprisingly, it's this one. It's the Apple Vision Pro. The reviews are out. It's available. If you saw like Marquez Brownlee and other folks who got it a couple of days early, obviously their little time-bound gagging orders were lifted and they were able to start sharing their reviews. And now regular folks, people on the street like you and me, well, like you maybe, not like me, because I happen to live in Australia. And guess what? If you're in Australia, Canada, the UK, Europe, anywhere but the US, you can't lay down your 3500 smackers on the Vision Pro. What does this have to do with GarageBand and music creating? Well, at the moment, not much. But as Daffia says here in the chat, imagine GarageBand on the Vision Pro. Well, apparently, Logic Pro. I've heard a little birdie told me, and look, I haven't found a video on it yet. If you find one, if you search for it while we're doing the show here and you find one, let me know. Maybe we'll have a squiz and see if anyone's actually been covering this. But apparently, Logic Pro for iPad is actually available in there. So Apple have enabled it. I assumed they wouldn't because I thought they'd be like, no, this is a touch interface device, a touch interface app. We're not going to enable it. But apparently, it's in there, or at least it looks like it's in there, that some people are saying. Canada and UK may come this fall. Yeah, so they've said later in the year for people outside of things. Already got Core Gadget VR. That'd be cool. There's got to be GarageBand VR, doesn't there? Like that's got to be a killer app for Vision Pro. Can you imagine just being out there in space, strum like some strings, like you're holding it here and you're like, come on, it's made for it. So the Vision Pro, here's the thing. I thought I would be way more interested in this than I am. I thought I would be watching all these with bated breath or bated eyeballs or something like that. I have lost a lot of my interest in this. I think because it's unobtainable, it's like unobtainium. It's like that thing with the blue cats in that movie about the avatars. It's unobtainable for me right now. And even if it were 3.5 grand, let's do the conversions on this one. That's close to 6 grand all up if you're here in Australia town. Because yeah, once you convert it to Australian dollar bucks, I reckon it'll retail for like 5,799 or something here in Australia. Yeah, I don't think so. Not think about the studio you could kit yourself out with for 5 6 grand or even for 3.5 grand US. What could you buy for 3.5 grand? You could buy a really nice Mac Mini or Mac Studio. You could buy a really nice 4 input interface like a Steinberg or a Focusrite or something. You could buy yourself a couple of microphones. You could buy yourself all the cables and the gear. You could buy yourself a nice 4K monitor. You could kit yourself out for 3.5 grand. So yeah, as Thomas says, I'd like to have a Porsche, but yeah, exactly. So is it interesting because it's like the first step in a future thing that might be good? Yeah, the Vision, exactly. The Vision Air for 1K in 2025. Exactly. That's what I'm there for. Like I said, when I bought my watch, I bought the SE. When I bought the iPad or the iPhone, I'm always a generation or two behind. I'm always lagging. I'm never bleeding edge because you pay a premium to be bleeding edge, and I'm far from bleeding edge. In terms of other things, well, that's all the Apple stuff because we haven't had any GarageBand updates. We haven't had any major Logic updates. There's been the iOS and iPadOS 17.4. We talked about that last week. Update to it or don't, and if you're in the middle of a major project. We'll say the same thing we say every time, which is if you're in the middle of a major project, don't update. Please, for the love of your data of choice, don't update. But for most of us usual folks, I've got my iPad and my iPhone both on iOS 17.4, and they've been working fine. The other bits of news and notes are more sort of selfish, more related to us here in Studio Live Today land, and that is a couple of quick programming notes for you over the next week. And that is this, that the next version of Your Music Live, which I confused some folks with because I put it out just before last week's show, and we had some confusion there that it was going to be this week's show. But no, this is next week's Your Music Live. We're doing a Super Bowl pre-show edition, so it's going to be the tailgate edition. You can cook up some sausages. Is that what you do? You cook barbecue, you cook ribs, don't you? Ribs and burgers. Is that like the football tailgating thing? You can have some brewskis. You can hang out with us, listen to some music. So instead of watching all the poxy entertainment that you're going to have well, actually, that is interesting because did you know that the halftime show at the Super Bowl is brought to you by Apple? Yes, the Apple Music presents the Super Bowl halftime show. So you can watch the halftime show, but the pre-show stuff, you know what it's like. It's going to be like, which team will win? Is this team good? Is that team good? The national anthem, which I'm really sorry, but your American national anthem leaves a lot to be desired. It's no Canadian national anthem, that's for sure. So if you want to miss all of that and instead catch the live Your Music Live show, then go ahead and do that. The other exciting thing, I get this question all the time. Johns, I know you love DistroKid, and I do, but I want to sell my music on Bandcamp. And you've never done a video showing me how to sell your music on Bandcamp. And I answer to that, I haven't ever sold my music on Bandcamp. So you know what I've gone and done? You know what I've gone and done? I've gone and tapped this bloke on the shoulder. Yeah, Mr. 18 albums and counting that has a heap of stuff on Bandcamp, has an entire back catalogue of music on Bandcamp, knows the ins and outs of uploading your music, of sharing your music, of getting paid for your music. And we're going to be having a chat with Mr. Thomas Christ on this week's podcast. So if you've ever been wondering, hey, how do I set up my profile? How do I upload my songs and my albums? How do I organize things? How do I share that and get people to engage with and buy my music? We're going to be chatting about all things Bandcamp. It's going to be a crash course, a Bandcamp 101 to get you up to speed because I'm not up to speed. I need to learn. And I'm like, you know what? I could sit and bug Thomas for an hour, or I can get him on the podcast and I can get him to tell not only me, educate me about it, but pass on that education to you as well. So that should be a good old time. That's happening this Thursday at this time, but on Thursday, which is Friday morning here in Australia, or Thursday afternoon or evening for you, wherever you are in the world. Hairbrush Microphone says, went to Fort McHenry and saw the original sheet music for the Star Spangled Banner. Gives you a deeper appreciation for the piece when you know what went into it and what it meant at the time. Yeah, look, and that's the thing. At the time, I get it. You know, bombs bursting in the air and rockets firing at people and aggression and war and wait, yeah, okay. Maybe it is still perfectly relevant. Yeah, glad to hear it. Because again, I love releasing music to the streaming platforms, but let's be honest, what's the future of independent musicians? It's great to have your stuff out there on all the platforms for ease of listening so people can access it. But if you want to actually get donations and get folks to actually engage with your music, Bandcamp is a fabulous platform. I use it as a consumer. I've just never used it to sell my music. So I'm going to learn. Thomas is going to learn me how to sell my music on the old Bandcamp. So that's what I'm looking forward to. All right, let us dive in. Here's the history of this one here today. I was thinking about a topic during the week and I thought to myself, back in the day, when I had my iPhone 6S Plus and I would go walking, I would grab my iPhone and go out and start getting song ideas down. And it gave me the idea that why don't I go back to the well, back in time, back to the way I first started writing songs and writing music, which was to just grab my GarageBand on my iPhone, play in some guitars, play in some keys, play in some drums, and build up a bit of a song idea. And then I thought what we would do next week is the benefit of GarageBand is grab this iPhone GarageBand project and throw it onto the iPad and record in some real guitars and some real keys and some vocals and actually build out a song over the next 2 weeks. So that's exactly what we're going to do. In fact, here's what I prepared earlier. This is GarageBand on the iPhone. Check it out. Ready to rock and roll and ready to use. And the beauty of this is I can actually do this now because because iPhone now has a USB-C port. So I used to not be able to send my my Lightning-based iPhone because it's really difficult. You can't send out the audio and the video from a Lightning port at the same time. With USB-C, we now can do it. So I thought this is the time to do this. So let's start at the start. Let's start with what I used to start doing when I was making a new song. And again, everything's a little bit different in here because everything's kind of compressed. So I'm used to having my files down the side and my folders down the side. And yeah, here on iPhone, it's very different. Yes, so the new iPhone, the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro, both have USB-C. So you can now actually use it with USB-C gear, which is very cool. So let's go to my browse. We're here in GarageBand iOS, and we're going to go into my ideas folder. We're going to hit plus there. We're going to create us a brand new song. Now, what I tend to do when I'm starting a song, not always, but I kind of want to work out like what it's going to sound like and what the rhythm is going to be. So let's start by tapping in some drums. So we're going to fire up the drums here. What I tend to do with drums is go in here to track settings, velocity sensitivity, and turn it off. Just because I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually get drummer to do the heavy lifting here. And so now we're going to get decent hits here. I want to do something that's going to have like a bit of an acoustic guitar part in this. So let's work on a tempo. So it's going to be like a do 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 something a bit funky. So let's go about an 82 here, and let's give ourselves 16 bars to start with. So tap on our section there, and give ourselves 16 bars. Just drag this. Oh, it went straight to 32. Why not 32? Let's go all in. Let's do a 32 bar section here. So we've got our metronome on here, so we'll be able to hear what we're doing here. We're going to hit record, and I'm just going to record in kind of the basic feel of the drums that I want with this one. So record. All right. So you might be thinking that's pretty boring, Johns. What's that going to do for you? Well, that's just the basic, the bare bones, the guts of what we're doing here. Let's go back to our track view, because what I like to do now is add drummer. Because the auto drummer this metronome sounds like crap. Let's be honest. The metronome sounds rubbish, and trying to play along to a metronome, no bueno. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually spread these out. So I've got myself 4 bars worth of that. Let's just make this looped out by tapping and looping it. And then let's hit the plus button here and grab a drummer. So the auto drummer is like your drums, but it does all the things for you. We'll tap on acoustic and we can choose our drummer. Here's where iPhone gets a bit challenging because normally you tap right in the middle here. On the iPhone, all your selections, you have to hit this drop down. I get this question a lot from people when they're switching between iPad and iPhone. They're like, I can't see where I changed my stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's always the drop down. And then you've got to tap on Kyle there, and then you can select your drummer. So let's use someone we never use. Who's someone we don't use? You know who I don't use a lot? I don't use Graham. Let's grab Graham, our experimental songwriter drummer. And the cool thing is we can actually tap on follow here and tell Graham to follow our original drums. So this way we don't have to spend a lot of time programming Graham in here, because now if we play, he's going to play a groove that sits right in the pocket of what we've already played, see? And now what we can do is get rid of our original drums. And we've just got Graham doing his thing. And we can turn off the metronome. How good's that? Very cool. Very cool indeed. Quick question from Barry Glenn. How do I get unlimited bars on the drum track on an iPad? So if you come in here to your section, you can either turn this to automatic, or you can drag that manual up to however much you want, and then you can loop it out from there. If that's what you're asking there, Barry. Otherwise, you got my email. Hit me up. We'll help you out. So there's our basic drum groove there. What I would do back in the day, and what I'm going to do for you here, I've just realized that I've put my face down here where the things go. I should have changed that. I should put my face in the other corner. Memo to self for next time around. Put myself in the top corner. All right, let's grab the drums, the bass. Let's do some bass. The bass here in GarageBand is not too bad. It's good for a placeholder. I don't usually tend to leave it in there, but if we come in here and we tap on the bass, and here we are. Now, the bass selections you have here, you've got to choose between the Liverpool, the P bass, the muted bass, and the picked bass. I tend to like the P bass. I think it sounds the coolest. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now, at this point, I'm going to choose my key. Now, I play a lot of stuff in G major, so I'm actually just going to go to that. Let's go into our comfort zone. So let's change the key signature to G major. And what this will do is it'll give us all of the chords that it reckons we're going to use around G major. So we've got G, D, and C there. You've got F. You've got an F sharp chord there, and then you've got your 3 minors there, A minor, E minor, and B minor. So I'm thinking this is just going to be a real kind of like... something like that. So we can play this either right here in the chords mode, or if we tap down there, we can actually change it and play it like a real bass. And that's what I might actually do, because I kind of want a bit of a groove like this, don't you reckon? This might kind of go well here, because we're still in G there, so we'll just play this in G. And let's hit record and just try and play in a little part here, shall we? 2. I don't know. I reckon that's pretty funky. Around about this time, I usually realize that, is my speed right? Do we maybe need to change the speed up a bit? And I like that it's a bit laid back. It might be a little too laid back. So why don't we grab this and drag our tempo up? And maybe we need this around maybe about 94. So we still want it to be a little... And look, it's not played perfectly, but the idea is not. The idea is to turn your do not disturb off on your phone before you start live streaming. Let's fix that. Now you know that my wife's going out for breakfast, which is a good thing. I'm just going to change my focus mode here to do not disturb. so that we don't have any embarrassment going on there. Let's come back over to here. There we go. So it's not perfect, but it's good enough for a songwriting sort of endeavor here. We've got ourselves a groove. Let's just drag this back and loop this out. So we've just got a bit of a groove here to jam over the top of, and take a listen to what these sound like together. That might be even a little quick. This is the benefit of using virtual instruments to start with. Let's get about 9. And yeah, you can hear that will sound really good with like an actual real bass playing that part. What about some guitars? Let's find out what's going to work with this for some guitars. So let's come in here and go to our virtual guitar. And for this one, I think we might even want to use like the clean guitar. I don't love the guitar sounds that we get here because I don't think they sound particularly great. But I'm going to persevere with it because the idea here is to just work out what chords we want to play and kind of what rhythm we want to get to. So we're going to go G, 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 D. So this is the G, D progression. So we can. So let's just try something along those lines just to see if this is going to work. 3. All right, so I've just experimented with a few little ideas there and progressions, and what I'm going to do is find the one that worked the best, which I reckon was that last little one there, because I reckon that's what we want to use here. Let's play. Yeah, so that one, that one there, and we'll just edit this. We'll tap it, we'll split it. Yeah, there's our problem. We haven't hit it right on the right spot, so it's not gonna love being there. So we'll need to edit it at first. So we'll tap it, we'll hit the edit button, and we just need to move the. In fact, you know what? Let's cheat. Let's cheat because this is just sort of a demo idea at the moment. We can quantize this so that it will actually go on there. So we'll go to track settings, we'll go to quantization, we'll go straight, and we'll put these on the 8th note. That way, they will be right there on the 8th note. We can change this afterwards, but now when we split this out, we should be able to split it, not lose those notes, delete this bit out, and then bring it back to the start, and then loop out that as our kind of progression idea. So is this going to sound all right? We need a bit of swing in there, don't we? So let's just add some swing to our quantization. There you go. That'll work for what we're looking for. Tap it, loop it, and come on back here. And there's our track so far. And we've got ourselves a little idea here. Now, turn that guitar down a bit. Cool. And I reckon we need some keys. So what am I hearing? I'm hearing like a I'm hearing like some electric piano action in this one. And these are the standard instruments that I tend to use a lot of the time. Let's go to the more sounds here. We're going to come up to our keyboards and we're going to grab our electric piano. Now, when you're playing here on an iPhone keyboard, it's a little bit difficult because we need to change around your octaves here a little bit. All right, let's just play this and see if we can come up with a little bit of an idea here that might work. That's what we need. So we just need like a little sort of do, 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 do. So we're just going to play a. And if you missed the start, what we're doing next week is I'm going to grab my MIDI keyboard and we can actually tidy this up. We can play it in the way we want it. So let's hit the record button here. And we're just recording this little idea. Let's hit record. There you go. Stop. Stop. That's it. So this second version here was the one we want. So again, we can just slide right up to that one. Oh, we're going to have that same problem there. So we'll just, we'll quantize it again. Use our cheat. Cheat when you're doing this sort of stuff. Because remember, you'll often be wanting to do this when you're on the go. So add that, that light swing there. And it should help us keep this in check. There you go. So there's our little keyboard patch idea, and we'll bring it back and loop it out. So now we've got ourselves a little bit of a jam here that's it's only 4 tracks, but we've got an idea here for some drums, some bass, some guitar, and some keys that we can build a song around. And it's as simple as that. When you're starting out, just try a few things and see what kind of works for you. So let's just play this. I don't mind that change up between the two. So I was thinking do, 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 but it's kind of changed it a little bit in there. So that's what we're going with. Let me just sing along. No, I don't have time to plug in a microphone. Ordinarily what I do, if I wasn't plugged in through USB-C, is I just record in a little idea here. But what I'll do is I'll just sing it for you. I'll sing in what I've got in my head for a bit of an idea here. So what I'm thinking is it'll play through a couple of times and then it will kick in with some vocals. Let's just... And we probably need some lead guitar. And then it'll be like this. And then I can hear it like dropping into a like a minor chord, minor chord, minor chord, and then I don't know, I'm thinking maybe even some distorted guitars for a chorus, like a variation on that. So there you go. There's how to build an idea. We're building a song in GarageBand. Yeah, the bass is good, isn't it, Barry? I'm digging it. Have some questions there that we're going to answer. We've got about 3 minutes left on the show here, so I'm going to answer those questions. Last thing we need to do here, though, is go back to more songs and go to our recent section here and make sure we save this sucker. So we're going to rename it. Oh, there it is, My Song 3. We're going to tap it, hold it, rename it, and give it a name here. So this is going to be GBW Jam. There you go. And then next week, we're going to grab that exact file. We're going to open it up in the iPad, and we're going to play around with it. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. Can you set loops for each track, or is there only one loop for the entire piece? Yeah, you can set loops for each track. So you would have seen me in that one. You can loop each individual one, or you can loop. So I've looped out everything differently there, but you can change. You can adjust the loops for each individual track there to whatever you want it to be. Yeah, you can play around with it, but yeah, the entire track itself will loop the whole length. So you can't do things like you can do in a sequencer where one section will go back to the start. You just have to loop it out through the whole thing. Hopefully that's helping you with that one. I think I saw a question from DJ Big Red, Great Ass Man 2. Still a work in progress. Remember, we're all just a work in progress. Barry Glenn, how do you get 3/4 time on the GarageBand drums? You know how you do that, Baz? You come up here and you change your time signature to 3/4 time. The problem is that a lot of your drum loops, and the drummer does work with 3/4 time, not quite as well, but some of your drum loops and things you lose the ability to use. But if you just turn on 3/4 time or 6/8 time right here in your settings, then everything will go to a 1, 2, 3. Your metronome will change, your tempo, your beats will change, and everything will be good in the hood. That is going to do it. I know. Nothing like a good song. We're here for a good time, not a long time in GarageBand Weekly. And as you can probably hear by my voice, I'm a little bit nasally because I've got hay fever at the moment. I know it's like the end of summer here. It's the least hay fevery time of the year, but for some reason I've got it. So please join me. We've got a couple of great shows coming up. Don't forget, we've got the show with Thomas Christ, Bandcamp 101 coming up Thursday afternoon or Friday morning if you're here in Australia. And then our Super Bowl pre-show YML edition coming right up after that. Please, this week, be kind to yourself. Yeah, that's the most important thing. Be kind to others. That's the second most important thing. And keep creating. That's kind of the crux of it all, isn't it? Thanks, everyone, for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Let's go out with a little of this tune. Yeah. See ya. Bye for now. Be cool, everybody. Woo-hoo-hoo.